Hey, it's Barb. And this morning, when I was having my coffee, I was thinking about this really, really good friend who years ago, she used to love to take videos. And it was during the time of the, like those little, maybe they were more like that size cassettes. They were kind of chunky, like little cubes in, a pretty big video camera. And then you'd have to buy the machine to play them back on the TV and have to hook all that stuff up, and then you have to hook the camera up into whatever. Anyway, as you can tell, I'm not very good at that sort of thing, and it was cumbersome, very cumbersome at the time. But when we did get it together, because she so loved to do it, there was such a wealth of information on the videos. And it got me thinking about the value and kind of a hidden gem for you that you have access to, and that is in watching your videos. Now, what happens with most of us is that we see ourselves on video and we go, oh, I look fat, I just don't ride very well. You see all of kind of like the blemishes, and they're glaring, and it almost kind of supports that inner voice that's been telling you that you don't look good on a horse, that you don't do that well. It becomes a painful process. But I have some ideas for you for how you can utilize your video as much more of a value-packed tool. And that is because it holds the information that you need to keep improving. And I think the very first thing is that we all need to fall in love with learning and to let go of this idea that we're supposed to have it all together, but instead just be crazy about, I just can't wait to see where is my next place that I can keep learning. So with that mindset, I have some ideas for you for watching your video. And there are more questions that you can make note of, and just, they're not hard and fast. They're just kind of a sampling, if you will, of ways you can watch your video. So the first is to ask yourself the question, aside from all of the strengths and weaknesses that you and your horse have, do you have in your mind a really clear picture of what a pretty ride looks like for yourself, or if somebody else does it, for the kind of riding that you do? Like, what is that? What is that? What is it? Like, if you have a canvas and you do a painting or a video, what is it that would be? And starting with that is very important, because it's kind of like knowing where you want to go if you're going on a trip. If you don't know where you're going, it's hard to get all the pieces ready to go on the trip. So that's the first thing. The second thing is, did you prepare yourself mentally, physically, by emotionally, I mean like focus, like that combination of focus and calmness, really an engaged state before and during your ride? And what about your horse? Did you do the same to help your horse get into that state? The next thing is, as you watch your video, first and foremost, are you acknowledging your strengths? Like, there are things in that video that are awesome, that are good, that are improvements. And that's so overlooked because we tend to be predisposed to avoiding pain and kind of minimizing the strengths, it's like, yeah, but did you see this that was not very good? But if we're going for that picture, we want to build on our strengths. And you and I and all of us have our individual strengths. So, that's the next thing. Like, did you acknowledge your strengths? And not just kind of, yeah, but like, yes, because you want to make them, like, if they were mine, I'd say, yes, that I'm Barbara Schulte, and that's something about my writing that I really like. The next thing is, where was your horse's attention, like before, during, and at the end, of your ride? Were, like, just replay your video and just focus on your horse, not with a judgmental eye, but a curious eye in what was going on. The next thing to look at, and you have to replay your video multiple times to see these things. What about my basic horsemanship principles, like my seat position, my body alignment, how my legs would hang, next to my horse? What about my hands? Were they up here, or did they start here and then did they come up? What about those pieces? Because they are so fundamental to our writing and also to our emotions, because when we start going forward and back and to the side, that really reflects what's going on the inside of us. Or whether it be like stability and quietness, or being like ahead of the turn kind of thing, or worrying about what's coming up. So how about those elements of horsemanship? Next, again, what happened right before you did things well? Because what happens right before everything is what sets it up. So for those things that you already picked out as your strengths, what did you do right before that set it up? And then the next thing is, those things that didn't go so well, back up from there. What happened right before that time? And then the last thing I'm going to mention, but of course there are more things, but when there was an error that happened or something a little off, how did you handle it? Did you just kind of not show any emotion on the outside and just went right to the next thing as if it never happened? Or could you see your mind and with what you did with your eyes and your body get kind of frustrated, and even though you were on to something else, you were still mentally, physically, and emotionally back at the error. So those are 7 things that you can do. Get a picture in your mind first, prepare yourself and your horse, acknowledge your strengths, in a general way. Notice where your horse was. Check out your horsemanship. What did you do before things went well? What did you do right before things didn't go so well? And how about errors? Okay, so let me know what you think. Your video is your friend, and there's so much information that you can learn from your video yourself. And then, of course, you want to have a trainer or a mentor look at it with you. But chances are they'll just focus on 1 or 2 pieces, and there's so much more that you can learn. And then pick 1 or 2 things that you'll do next time. Don't try and tackle the whole thing. but just love learning, love polishing, love getting better step by step with the celebration of what you do well. Okay, leave a comment for me. You know how much I love hearing from you.